last couple of days, the city of Buffalo occupied group have been in discussions. I think everyone knows the agreement expired at midnight on February 1st, and there have been talks the last couple of days. The city offered an extension of 5 weeks to March 8th, and it's my understanding that late last night the Occupy group decided not to go with the agreement and move on.
When did you make the decision to do this, I guess? When did you know that you were going to move in and essentially force them out?
Well, again, the city, Rachel, offered a 5-week extension to the Occupy group. There were discussions the last couple of days. The city had agreed to a March 8th date where they would remain in the square. They would wind down and then move on to the next phase of their operation. And I would say, it was probably late last night when we got word that they didn't accept the offer, and the city then took action.
How many people were arrested?
Jim, my understanding right now, and it's unofficial, but my understanding is it's around a dozen, and I think the charges will be they're being finalized right now, but I think the majority of the charges will be disorderly conduct and trespassing.
Were you expecting them to get violent? Is that why you had the SWAT team and the extra staff?
Well, you just listen. I think everyone has seen what's happened with this movement in other parts of the country, and you can never be too safe. So it was for precautionary reasons.
But Buffalo has been so different from any other occupation.
And that's why it's so disappointing, Rachel. I mean, the city wanted this to end the way this started. The last 2 days, the talks have been centered around that, trying to ensure that it would end in a positive manner, and that's why the city was hopeful that they would accept the 5-week extension, give them time to wind down and move on to the next phase of their operation. But at the end of the day, it just didn't work.
Where does the city stand if these folks come back tomorrow, the next day, next weekend?
The city is prepared to enforce the city ordinances, Jim.
I got a question.
Sure.
What is the city's plan on meeting the people's demands?
What was the question?
What is the city's plan for meeting the protesters' demands?
Well, I think the city has been more than fair with the Occupy group.
Not with the Occupy, but with the people of Buffalo. With the housing, with the economic crisis. What is the city's plan on improving Buffalonians' standard of living?
Well, I think Mayor Brown and the city have made that priority #1, job creation, finding more jobs, creating new jobs.
Why hasn't that been happening then?
Well, I think you look around what's happening in the city and downtown, and all the construction and new buildings, waterfront. I would say, some people would say that a lot is happening in the city of Buffalo.
I know.
Did the mayor have an immediate say on tonight's actions, this morning's actions?
Mayor Brown is certainly involved in all the discussions, as far as being updated and involved and well aware of what was going on.
Have you talked to His Honor since the occupiers have been evicted?
I've been in contact with the mayor through the evenings.
Mike, you have a lot of people out here, a lot works and so forth. How many people are out here for this type of operation? And it's got to be a budget.
Yeah, Tony, I can't give you, I can't give you a number. I think what you can see is that it's a professional, coordinated procedure with police and the Department of Public Works. The stuff that's being taken down right now, the inventory will be taken, and it's my understanding that the individuals who own the tents and the other equipment, they will be able to pick that up in a day or two at one of the police districts.
Mike, there will be people who watch this tomorrow, and some people, of course, will think that the city has been more than fair. Some people will think that the city is being totally unfair in doing this. I guess, what do you say to either one?
Yeah. I think most would say, Rachel, that the city has been very fair, and I want to, listen. We've said this all along, and I'll say it again tonight. I think the Occupy group has been a very cooperative group. They work well with the city, and that's why it's so disappointing that it had to come to this. The city wanted this to end in a positive manner. The extension was there for 5 weeks to March 8th to give them a chance to do what they need to do, to wind down, move on to their next phase, and I guess, nothing lasts forever.
Was there any stipulation, Mike, about in that tentative agreement that was offered about how they should move into the next phase and what they were to do over the next 5
There was some
weeks?
talk with the city, and that the city would possibly play a role in helping them out with the next phase. And there were talks about that over the last 2 or 3 days, and the city was willing to do that. And again, I think it's just another reason that it's disappointing that couldn't get to that point.
To set up an encampment elsewhere, or transform the movement into something other?
Well, that,
I mean, what direction were you
I think that's probably more of a question for Occupy. Whatever their next phase, whatever their next vision was, they had talked about some things, whether it was rehabbing a building or something like that. But I think that they had some ideas and possibilities on the line.
We talk about Buffalo being a national model for the cooperative relationship that the city and the occupiers have had. Does this tarnish that?
Again, I think it's disappointing. I think it's disappointing. I think it's been the model. I think it was probably the best one around the country, and it's just unfortunate that it had to end this way. And again, there were 2 days of talks where tried to get to a date or a day that they would agree upon, and 5 weeks is a good amount of time, and I think March 8th was a fair date, and in the end they just didn't agree on the date.
Of those arrested, what were they charged with?
Again, my understanding is, and we